Greetings petrolheads, welcome back to Automation, the car company tycoon game. So first of all, before we get into this episode, there's a community challenge running and the submissions are open until tomorrow at 11:59 p.m. my time. I will put the link to the community challenge video, which also has all the rules and whatnot, in the description below. And with that, let's jump into this episode. Since it's 2017 and I haven't built a 2017 car yet, I've started up building some of the cars in the AMW lineup in 2017. So the first one I'd like to show you is the AMW Tiger. This only so far has the HP trim, which is supposed to compete with BMW M6 Grand Coupe and Porsche Panamera Turbo S and Mercedes CLS 63 AMG and the other cars in this kind of segment. So it is a large photo saloon with a somewhat coupe-esque roofline. It's got a twin turbo V8 under the hood. Let's jump into it. We got an aluminum monocoque, which is nothing unusual in this segment. It's got longitudinal engine placement. It's got double wishbones up front, multi-link suspension in the rear. It's got carbon fiber panels because I thought that if it's gonna compete in the segment with those pretty expensive German luxury products, then it better be offering something that makes people feel like it's worth the price. And carbon fiber panels is one such thing, among others, of course, such as the engine. Now this is a 4.5 liter twin turbo V8. It's got 89 by 5 by 89.4 bore and stroke. It's a magnesium block with aluminum or silicon head. It's got 5 hours per cylinder, which is in AMW's tradition, and it's got really good internals, the best you can get in order to make sure that the engine is as smooth and as reliable as possible. It's got a cam profile of 60, which is not very aggressive, 9.2 compression ratio, VVT on all cams. It's twin turbocharged, of course. Note that this only has a large water-to-air intercooler, which is totally sufficient. As you can see here, this is perfectly fine. The huge one doesn't really give us a benefit, it just adds weight. And it's got direct injection, of course. A performance intake, revs to 7600 RPM, makes peak power at 7100 RPM, and it's got a 3 1/4 inch exhaust. 2 straight foam mufflers, although I might delete the second one, but that's gonna compromise comfort a little bit. I'm just gonna leave these on. So 640 horsepower, 550 pound-feet of torque. Sounding good. One thing I'd like to note is that yes, in this game the turbos on this engine will only kick in at like 3500 RPM, which isn't so bad if your engine revs to 7600. But obviously these turbos are the sort of old school turbos that we used to have in the 80s and 90s and whatnot. Whereas in real life we have stuff like twin scroll turbos, which would mean that they would spool up at like 2000 RPM, so the torque curve would look that much different. Yeah, there is that. Let's move on. This thing has a 7-speed double clutch gearbox, an electric diff. It's rear drive only, of course. It's got sport tires with 295s up front, 305s in the rear, 20-inch carbon fiber rims, because there's even no reason not to use carbon fiber rims on this car. Because it's a premium product, it's going to be expensive, and you know, may as well offer the best possible components. Same goes for the brakes, of course, carbon ceramics, 320s up front, 275s on the rear. Fully clad under tray. I actually haven't messed with the wing angles. I should tune that a little bit more. I can do that in this episode. It's got some quality in the aerodynamic section to make sure it's a little bit sleeker, a little bit better top speed, and slightly better fuel consumption, which, you know, for that reason I should add cooling flaps. You're right. And it helped a little bit. It's got luxury interior with 5 seats, luxury heads-up display, entertainment, all driver assists, advanced safety. It's got active sport springs with semi-active dampers, and a pretty mixed setup here. Not super sporty, somewhat between sporty and comfortable is what this setup is. So overall we have 47.2 drivability, 62.5 sportiness, despite the weight of 1855 kilograms. It's got 58.9 comfort, 62.1 prestige, 65.2 safety, and it costs $96,900 with a plus 50% markup. So that puts it in the same sort of price class as an M5. Actually, isn't the M5 quite a bit more expensive? In any case, you saw the sort of component this has. 640 horsepower, carbon fiber panels, carbon fiber wheels, carbon ceramic brakes as standard, and you know, with that, this sort of price seems very, very fair, very reasonable. And let's now check out the performance. 0 to 100 in 3.9 seconds, top speed 340 kilometers an hour. Now this would make this the fastest four-door sedan in the world, the fastest stock four-door saloon in the world anyway. And well, you don't really need to say much more, do you? Let's run it on the quarter mile. .7 seconds, so obviously it's gonna struggle putting down all that power, but once it goes, it goes. That's 300 kilometers right there. That was 28.2 seconds. Now, that's pretty much the same as a C6 generation Corvette ZR1, which has pretty much the same amount of power, but weighs a lot less. So that should tell you how hard this engine pulls. And you know, obviously the fast shifting 7-speed double clutch is also an advantage there, but still, that sort of 0 to 300 acceleration in a luxury saloon, it's actually pretty impressive, isn't it? Especially considering that the Corvette is faster from 0 to 100. And yeah, so that is the AMW Tiger in a straight line. A couple more things that we should be talking about though. Automation track, let's see how it does here. It's a 208.41, that's actually pretty good for such a large car. So are the G numbers, the cornering figures. I would like to see how it could be affected by the wing angles. I think we need... If we want this car to turn a little bit sharper, we should increase the front wing angle, because it does have lips front and rear, and decrease the rear wing angle to compensate for the top speed loss. Let's see if that helped. It didn't really. Because the thing is, if we lower the rear wing angle, we're gonna lose some traction that the rear downforce provides us, because this thing is rear-wheel drive. I don't know. I think I'm just gonna leave it at 50-50. I think this is the sort of car that would really be... I think that this is the sort of car that the next generation M5 or M6 Grand Coupe would be, like, will end up being, because, you know, it is more powerful than the current ones which are about to go out of production. It is rear-wheel drive. It has more carbon fiber. It's got carbon ceramics as standard. It's got a fast shifting gearbox, and it goes like hell. And it's very luxurious inside. There's really nothing really that fancy, nothing really that special about it per se, but you know, you do get very high quality materials everywhere, and it's actually not super expensive considering that. So again, don't forget about the community challenge if you've not already entered. So far we've got 9 valid entries. I would be very happy to see a 10th one. That would be amazing. And hope you enjoyed this episode. Let me know what you think about this car, and yeah, see you next time.